So when you're an older skateboarder, warming up is really important, and it's something you have to not only do but also spend time thinking about, because you kind of need to find a warm-up that works and is sustainable. So I'm going to talk about what I do, and of course a lot of my ideas about this come from YouTube skateboarders. So I'll list a couple of them here that are important and how I think about it. And the first one is kind of a funny joke that I first heard from Dan Corrigan, who mentioned in the YouTube video that's linked in the description below that you have your age in minutes to warm up. So I just turned 44. That means I have 44 minutes to warm up. Now there's a problem with that. If you're older, the total time that you can actually skateboard without getting completely wiped out and in danger of hurting yourself goes down, and your warm-up time may be going up. So there's a certain point where you never get out of the warm-up, and that's a problem we kind of have to deal with. In that same video, Dan Corrigan also talks about his own warm-up, which is to do simple ledge tricks followed by flip tricks until they feel right. And I sort of do that, except that I don't really do flip tricks. Flip tricks are something I struggle with, and in fact some of them I don't really even like very much. So flip tricks are not really my thing, but ledge tricks I love, and so you'll see some of that in my clips in a minute. Another video that I found really helpful in thinking about this is Ben DeGrosse video about his sort of routine for making progress, where he splits a 90-minute session into 3 30-minute segments, where the first 30 minutes is warm-up, the second 30 minutes is a routine, and the third 30 minutes is experiments or trying new stuff out. And then finally, I'll just mention that at some point I heard Andy Anderson comment that you should do freestyle footwork to warm up, and I do a little bit of that myself. So here's the DeGrosse method pictorially. You've got these 3, and I drew them here as overlapping segments to your session: the warm-up, the routine, and the experiment. And so Ben DeGrosse in his video actually notes that sometimes you never get out of the warm-up, and that's really significant, especially if you are old like me, right? Sometimes the warm-up is all you get. It's certainly also true that sometimes you would never really get to the experiment, that you sort of get stuck with stuff that you kind of think of as routine that you're working on, but not really new to you. And I mean, that's less annoying and less progress impeding than if you just get stuck in the warm-up. But another thing that's interesting is that there's always overlap here, right? Sometimes your warm-up bleeds into your routine, and sometimes your experiment bleeds the other way. And how much of this overlapping and bleeding back and forth in the different segments really depends on the day. Like if you're having a really good day, you're going to feel warmed up really quickly, and you're going to kind of blast right through to doing new things. And so you can sort of imagine stretching and compressing this diagram in concert with sort of how you're feeling that day. And so I'm going to show you some clips that I took today where I tried to do about a 30-minute, it's actually probably less than that, it's probably closer to 20 minutes, where I filmed a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it, and try to point out the 3 segments. And so in my warm-up, you'll see 360s, slappy nose stalls, board slides, nose slides, ledge 50-50s. And in my routine, I do like a little bit better board slides maybe, and better 50-50s. I do half cab board slides. I try some crooked grinds, tail slides, and front nose slides. I'm not actually sure if I took any clips of this, but I did a terrible job with those last few. And then my experiment ended up kind of being a half cab nose slide, which is something I can do on ledges pretty routinely, but I did it on my PVC pipe. And then another aspect is a Smith grind on a PVC pipe, which is something I'm really working on a lot these days. So now we'll just go to the clips, and I'll do a little bit of commentary on them. All right, so this is literally when I came out skating. I had not been on my board at all at this point. So this is a bare warm-up. And I'm very often trying little 360s and tic-tacs just to kind of get started. Both frontside 360 and backside. A lot of times I'll do transition stuff to warm up, like rocks to fakie, feebles, but not today. Today I'm kind of trying to just sort of think about street skating. And that little nose stall I really like. I don't know why, but it's sort of really kind of, I actually do a lot of those even when I'm just messing around. It just kind of feels nice. Yeah, not the greatest 360s, but I guess that's not the point. The point is kind of just to do something to get moving. It's quite hot out right now. So yeah, I'm going to continue the warm up now with ledge tricks, and I'll change the view, change the camera view. All right, so this is the ledge portion of my warm up, just right after that little 360 thing you saw. And almost always I start out with a regular old backside board slide. So this is something that, you know, I don't always land it first try, but I'm a little surprised if I don't. But part of the warm up is, you know, you're not supposed to land everything. You're supposed to kind of just get going. So yeah, backside board slide followed by frontside board slide. Almost 100% of the time I do that little routine. And there I kind of threw that one away. I kind of intentionally decided to lean back a little bit, sort of with the knowledge that I would probably slip out on the really slick PVC. Just kind of wanting to move around in different ways. Nose slide, that's one I almost always do. And that's one where I feel like it's very, very likely you don't make the first one. I did make that one. I'm not sure why, but really common for me to have to throw a nose slide away to kind of wake my legs up. And that's a good one because it requires you to aim, but not that precisely. So keep doing frontside board slides, keep doing backside board slides. You know, usually do between 3 and 6 of each, just back and forth to get warmed up. So somewhat repetitive, but you kind of just want to mess around. So there's a little attempted front 50-50 that was accidentally a front feeble. I will usually throw an accidental front feeble away. I don't actually think it's wise to try to hang on to one of those because they're dangerous. But I didn't throw that one away for some reason. Yeah, so there's a frontside board slide where I somehow got stuck on the end. Again, I mean, I think I'm doing it over and over again, so it's good to go through a couple. Oops, messed up 50-50. That's rare, but on a warm up, I think it's okay. You know, it's an interesting point. A bail like that for a young person is nothing. A bail like that for an old person can be jarring, and so you do need to be a little bit careful. So there I got a okay frontside 50-50. Now I think I'll probably go for backside 50-50. You know, and a year ago this trick would not have been in my warm-up, right? But that was a, you know, it was a sketchy landing, but that's just because of the layout of my driveway skate park. It's not my skill level. So that's actually really cool, right? That a year ago that would have been in my end of my session, my experiment, I'm trying to learn new stuff session, and now I've actually got it solidly in my warm-up, and that's the coolest thing to see that kind of progress. So what do I got here? Another one. Again, I even try to kind of ollie out of that, and so when I move on to the routine, I'll actually do that back 50-50, but I'll be much more aware of how I'm getting out of it and trying to get out cleaner and not bump into those ramps. So there's a nose slide on the PVC, and that's a good warm-up trick, but you can also get stuck on that, or let's say I can also get stuck on that because of what you just saw, I kind of got stuck. It's a little bit of a higher precision aiming job than on the ledge. But here I got one, and that was okay. So I went around the car, just felt like proving to you that I actually rolled out of it. And who knows? I guess my legs were tired. Yeah, so this is, roughly my ledge warm-up, and I think here I'm about to start to move into things that I would more consider to be as part of the middle segment or the routine. And so I'm going to do a half-cab board slide, and I kind of had that. So that's not something that I would normally consider part of my warm-up. It's close, but not quite. And then I think here as well, I'll do something that's something I can do. So this is going to be a front 50-50. No. Never mind. All right, so I didn't do that yet. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try that half cab board again. And that was ugly, but I did it. And so, it's kind of like, okay, I should still be warming up, but I'm kind of messing around with things that I don't really have at a warm-up level yet. And here's a kick flip, which, yeah, like I said, I'm not much of a flipper. So I think from here we'll probably move on to what is, more of my routine where I have things that I don't quite have at warm-up level, but I'm gonna work on. All right, so slightly different view of the driveway skate park. I've now sort of moved away from my warm-up and I'm now more into the routine, and so half cab board slide is something I'm doing pretty well with, but I don't really consider to be something that I'm good at, and I'm trying to improve my my style, the length I can hold it. And I'm actually doing pretty well with it today. So that's another trick. The front 50-50 on the PVC pipe is something that I am I can do it pretty much consistently, but I feel uncomfortable with it, and I feel like I need to work on, style, speed, controlling my lock. I kind of tend to be heel side locked. And so right here, because I felt like I was doing really well on the half cab board slide, I decided to go to half cab nose slide, which is something I've almost never done on this PVC pipe before. And so this is where I'm almost experimenting, even though I haven't spent much time in my middle segment, my routine segment. And part of it is I didn't film my entire middle segment today, just because this video is already going to be a little bit long. So this is me sort of graduating to experiment. So like I said, I'm doing those half cab board slides really well today for some reason. And so now I've got it in my head that I've got enough control in my legs today to really experiment with the half cab nose slide. And so that's kind of going to be my target for the day. And there's a back 50-50 where I control the exit better, like I told you, and that I would regard as part of the routine. So that's a warm-up trick. But now instead of just kind of letting myself come off willy-nilly and bump into the quarter pipe, I purposely ollied away so that I could actually look a little bit better doing it. Yeah, so I'm feeling good about this, and kind of at this point today I've sort of decided that the half cab nose slide is going to be my war for the day. The crook, wow, that went bad. I gotta tell you something though. I mean, I'm gonna be a complainer here, but it was 90 degrees in the blazing sun at 1 p.m. and all the wax on that metal angle iron was just melted off, and that thing was not going. So, I tried a couple other of those, but I just decided it kind of wasn't worth the effort given the state of the angle iron in the sun. So there's a half cab nose slide on the ledge, and I do those fairly a lot, but that was just ugly and nasty, and some, I don't really consider that a very good attempt. This is my target for the day, and that one I was on. Like I remember feeling that, like, wow, I'm standing on that strong. So I'm pretty happy about it. Yeah, that's where I decided to give up on crooks. Like, just forget it. That was that clap. Clap that crook away. You're not gonna get it today. You go back out in the evening sun and the wax has re-solidified, maybe it would be a safer bet. I don't know. So let's see. Can I get half cab, no slide? Not that time. I got a couple today, and I think 2 or 3 of them were actually good. I at least got a couple of them on film. And so let's see if I get one on this segment, and if not, maybe there'll be another one in my final segment. Oh, wow. That was terrible. All right. Yeah, so we'll do one more segment where I'm sort of solidly into my experiment, where I really, really want to get some decent half cab nose slides. All right, so this is my final clip. I lost a clip that I had in the middle that had, I actually think, one good half cab nose slide. I do get a couple here. So now we're basically on to sort of the end of the session where I've decided kind of what I'm going to work on that's new to me, and the new part here is really doing it on the PVC pipe, which is my stand-in for a round rail. And so that's a land. I mean, I think it was ugly, and it didn't actually feel like I was on it strongly. Okay, but I'll take it. I mean, you gotta take stuff when it's in your experiment phase, right? And I'm also a little bit trying frontside board slide to fakie, which I cannot figure out right now. I'm pretty consistent with my frontside board slides on a lot of different obstacles, but I can't seem to get them out to fakie well. Oh, man. So I just want to say, at this point, sort of nearing the end of the skate session, that's an indication that I may be losing it and in danger of injuring myself. So I got to be careful. Okay, that was another one that was decent, not spectacular. Still can't board slide to fakie. It seems like it should be really easy for me, but I just cannot make it work. I keep basically on this box, I hit the wood on some rails at the skate park. I'm still not doing it. I don't know. That was maybe a little bit stronger in terms of the lock position, but didn't slide super far. So none of those are probably my best I did today, but whatever. I mean, I'm not claiming I really, really have this trick. Okay, so Smith grinds on that pipe are one of my big struggles right now, and I'm making progress with them, but definitely not going to make one today. And so I'm kind of ending this session messing with a couple Smith grinds, just as another example of a trick I'm experimenting with that I really, really don't have. So yeah, maybe it's a little bit boring to watch somebody just fail all the time, but this is mainly to illustrate, the sequence of events in this 3-segment session. So there's another Smith where I did the classic thing, right? I'm dipping down too far because I'm not brave enough to actually sit in the back seat as much as you need to. And I know that intellectually, but I can't make myself do it. All right, so that's the video. That's the 3-segment bend to gross session, only I condensed it into a really short session instead of a 90-minute one. There's no way I could skate 90 minutes in the sun today. It was just too much for me.